But I'm being joined in the studio by Brigadier General SK Usman, retired. He's a consultant director of corporate affairs and information services, former spokesman of the Nigerian Army. Thank you for joining us, sir.
Yeah, good evening. Thank you so much.
I'm sure you saw our guest as our former guest as well,
leaving.
The honorable member representing Kwande local government area. But this is yes. When he was here, I don't know if you also heard what he talked about. His submissions about the fact that our borders are very porous. The border between Kwande, which is the nearest to Cameroon, Nigeria's border to Cameroon, Kwande local government lies in that border, on that border to Cameroon. So, in his words, the attackers come from Taraba, from the Kashimbela Plateau, into Cameroon and then into Kwande. And that it looks as if they are targeting Jatoka, which he believes will make it very dangerous for Benue and the rest of Nigeria if they're able to do this. Is there no way out? Because it appears the attacks are increasing every day.
Well, certainly there is a way out. And first and foremost, when you are faced with existential threat of that magnitude, for instance, I think the starting point.
Brigadier General, sir, if you just excuse me, there is a situation out there where things are not made too clear and people begin to worry about how to go about what they need to do. There is an understanding, and it has to do with communication. The people need to be spoken to and encouraged to face out and stand firm when they need to deal with certain situations. If the leadership is not speaking, that is some form of communication. Therefore, the leadership needs to speak and speak directly to the led. Nigerians in every corner of the country are asking questions, not just economic, security-wise, even emotionally. They want to hear, they want to know what is being done for their sake. They want to know that they can wake up in the morning, they can go out for their businesses and come back home. So beyond the prayers that we pray, every Nigerian, as I say, Nigerians pray a lot. Beyond the prayers that we pray, there needs to be action taken to ensure that Nigerians are safe. We're still discussing the situation in Benue, Kwara, and what can be done to make a difference. You heard our correspondent, Chinwe Ugele, who went to that community in Ebonyi State, where there was a clash over landed property. That one still happens in some communities across the country. So beyond the terrorist attacks and herdsmen attacks, we still have communities, neighboring communities, attacking each other over concerns of land, who owns land or who doesn't own land. And these has to do with the border commissions, both at the federal and at the state levels. And also, as I said earlier, communication with each other. These communities need to be able to speak with each other. I think I have Brigadier General SK Usman back now. I asked you a question about the seeming appearance of an increase in the insecurity in certain parts of the country. Why do you think that is so?
I think the starting point, let's go back from the very beginning. You were thinking whether it can be resolved or not. And I was saying that it is possible we can resolve it. And you cannot think of resolving a problem of such magnitude, especially when you are facing existential threat of that magnitude, without fully understanding the problem. What are the causes? What are the drivers? What are the triggers? Now, when you look at it, there are issues of scarce resources. There are issues of social cohesion. There are issues of border security. When you gather all together, it gives you the magnitude of the security challenges we're having in this country. And there is no way you can treat one in isolation. We all know it, that anytime again you have security challenge, it is basically predicated on three things in any given society: the socio-economic atmosphere, the political atmosphere, the economic, the political, and the social atmosphere, to a large extent. To what extent have you invested in the human resources that they are, well secured and contribute meaningfully? Then if you look at it again, I heard when the Honorable was talking about the arms of government, but then of course there is issue of the tiers of government. You know it, we have federal, we have state, we have local government. You know it and I know it. It is only the state and the local, the federal that are working. To a large extent, most of the local governments are not working. And bulk of these problems emanate from communities within this local government. So people that could have naturally used time-tested conflict resolution mechanism, they no longer have the ability to do so. So everything is lumped at the state is overwhelmed, the federal, of course, to a large extent, the security agencies are, overstretched. And we're even talking about, state policing. And the clamor for state policing, yes, it is an idea that has come with time, but it's predicated on the wrong perception, because the most secured, so-called society, maybe it's the United States of America. It has, the UN requirement of police, but it's not as secure. Because if you look at the number of, murders, killings, and all the rest of them, so we are going to the wrong people. There are some states or some countries that they have insignificant number of police, and yet they are better off. So the investment
was making it different.
So I talked about triggers. The whole idea is to invest in human resource, so that you you minimize the instances of the security challenges as well.
Brigadier General Usman, the thing is
this is just one out of the several,
because I was going to ask you
the whole thing.
I was going to ask you, invest in human resources. After investing in human resources, terrorists come into that axis and kill off those human resources. What do you do?
You see, let me tell you, the issue is that anytime you have security challenges of this magnitude, these non-state actors, they are just filling a vacuum. They are just filling a vacuum. In the first place, had it been that we invested in human resources, take for instance, we have the National Border Community Commissions. Is it working as it is supposed to be? So the border communities would have been adequately taken care of. It's so sad and unfortunate. The scandal between, the refugees, Nigerian refugees in Niger Republic and some other places. Now, had it been that we have all it takes to secure our border communities and give them all they need in terms of healthcare, education, and all the rest, they will contribute more meaningfully, to the national security architecture than anything else. So the terrorists that you are talking about, there would have been early warning system. But now there is total disconnect to some extent between the state and the people. Take, for instance, even the banditry. Now there is no connection. Those of us that grew up, from the rural areas, we know that there was a relationship between the herder and the government, because they used to, I can't remember the technical term, the medical term that they do. Each of the cows is registered, has a record, not even the human beings. But now there is total disconnect.
All right.
And in return for that...
We need to go on a quick break.
Okay.
Just go on a quick break. I'll come back, continue this conversation. Please stay with us. Brigadier General SK Usman is still here with us, the retired, the former spokesperson for the Nigerian Army. You were talking about, let me start from the one that I asked you a question about, investment in human capital. But I know you moved on to talk about the border communities. If the border communities had been taken care of as they should have, we would not be where we are today. Was that really what the situation is?
It's just one of
One of you talked about investment in human capital and then border communities.
Of course, but beyond the border communities, it is not just enough to ensure their well-being, infrastructure, and all the rest, but you have to have the mechanism to secure the border itself. Now, what do we have in terms of border security in this country? Is it the military? Is it the custom? Or is it the immigration? In some other countries, they even have an established structure specifically for securing the border. And you know, I think with Niger Republic alone, I think we have a length of about 1,000 kilometers. Talk less of Chad, talk less of Cameroon, then Benin Republic. And there were even stories, especially, you know, in border communities around Badagry and all the rest of them. You know, the smugglers take care of the chiefs within. So the loyalty itself is something else. So basically, you have to make up your mind what exactly you want and how do you go about. So it's not question of ad hoc thing. There are established mechanisms, but unfortunately, over time, we have relegated our institutions. They are not performing the way they should. And that is why bulk of, like I told you, these issues, basically the non-state actors or the criminal elements are just filling a vacuum. Had it been the vacuum is not there, they wouldn't have been. So let's assume the border communities are well taken care of beyond, you know, their well-being, infrastructure and all the rest, then there is adequate security. So they know that if they see anything, they can easily give out information and the information will be acted on. It's kind of an early warning system. So whereby all these things are not working, then that is one other thing. But truly, have we also clearly interrogated the problem to know that bulk of the security challenges come from outside the borders or within the border? Because I kept on saying there are certain communities, particularly Benue, Plateau, Kaduna, whether we like it or not, if you like, bring 1 million soldiers, 1 million policemen, the people also had to agree to live in peace with each other. So there are internal factors also that we need to address. And they are bordered, they bordered on the issue of scarce resources. And of course, I'm so happy that you are talking about issue of communication. You know, we tend to live in at cross purposes with each other. And we notice some kind of divisive tendencies on the part of Nigerian communities. You know, the hate speech, this thing. There is no clear sense of belonging. And we are not managing this diversity the way it used to be, you know, in the past. So that people will be given more sense of belonging and the atrocities being committed. Just recently, the same right in the street of Makurdi, people, they were going elsewhere with their trailer, they just decide to harbor according to, you know, military terminology to eat. The next thing, they were lynched for no apparent reason, simply because they worship a different god or they speak a different language. You know, that kind of thing. A state capital. So these are the kind of the problem, and nobody is punished for it.
Brigadier General SK Usman, retired, is consultant, director of corporate affairs and information services, a former spokesperson for the Nigerian Army. I would have to hang it here today, but I would tell the producers and we will bring you back so that we'll have more time to look at the way forward. How do we solve all of this? Thank you so much for coming in today.
It is my pleasure.
And we wish you a wonderful weekend ahead.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.